the still of the night, I think of you.
She smiled. She had always known that he had a way with women, that they always flocked around him, and she had always thought it was from no effort of his. But if he spoke to them this way, no wonder. And then she wondered how IJ could have been able to. Penny for your thoughts. She gently removed his fingers from drawing circles on her thighs, making her feel things no one should feel at a funeral. You should keep your thoughts clean, she whispered to him. You were having unclean thoughts about me? I want to hear them. She giggled. Okay, that's it. Chuck was smiling. Both of you should behave before we get thrown out for indecent behavior. You are not serious. He's just jealous. Stanley's hands returned to her thighs. She gasped and looked up, and Chuck winked at her knowingly. Star blushed inwardly and placed her hands on his to stop his wandering ones. His phone rang and he stood up. Just then, different dishes were being placed on their table. He took a few steps and came back. Hold on to this for me. It was a little man's purse and his phones. Then he left. Okay, things are progressing. Eva smiled. It's just a purse, and his phones, and his bag full of money. Helen added. Seriously, Helen. Chuck, where is our real Helen? And what did you do with her? Everyone laughed. 1 year of good loving can do that to anyone. Stanley is a special man, and he's lucky to have you. She beamed at him. We are still trying to figure it out. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Cersei chorused. But we didn't do that. The women chorused and laughed. Okay, please stop. She laughed. Honestly, we are still trying to figure it out. Tell that to Betty, if eyes could kill. Eva said. She was distracted from answering when IJ stopped at their table. Hi everyone. Hi IJ, long time. I was wondering if I could join you. I see a free seat. No. Eva answered before anyone could come out of their shock to say anything. That is not a free seat at all. That's for Stanley. He's occupied somewhere else now, but he's coming to to sit beside Star. I will find you a place, which I spoke for the first time. Everyone turned to look at him, but he ignored all and gestured for an usher. Could you find a place for her to sit? There is none here. Uche asked the usher, who was only too happy to oblige him. Come along, ma'am. I thought for 1 second there you have gone crazy, Eva said to him. No, but there is always a polite way to do things. He looked at his sister pointedly. Just then, Sally came back. Everyone okay? He asked over the loud Fuji music. He turned to Star. Come, there is someone I want you to meet. Luckily, she was carrying a roomy purse, so she threw in his bag full of money and his phones, and stood up. She stopped when she reached him. My dress is not fit for this wing. I might have to carry you then. You wouldn't dare. Alarmed, she moved away from him all the same. I don't want other men getting full view of my wares before I even get to take a peek myself. She playfully hit him on the head with her purse and he laughed. Your wares? Who says that? She laughed. The wind is coming from that direction. He paused and observed for a while. So you walk on my left side? He put his hands on her hips, stylishly trying to hold the dress down. They began to walk to the main house. Not now, he groaned. What? Their bimbolas are walking towards us. Whatever I say, don't act surprised, just go with the flow. She did not have time to respond before their bimbolas were upon them. Stanley bowed slightly at the elderly man. Stanley, just the man I want to see. My condolences. Thank you, sir, ma'am. Stanley smiled at his wife. Betty tells me the presentation was sound. Oh, please, this is a funeral. She turned to Stanley and smiled apologetically. Don't mind my husband. His brain can only process business. Or snagging wealthy men for your daughters. Star added silently. It's okay. I got the report. Betty was exceptional, but we are still looking at it. You will get a mail once we are ready to move forward. Oh, where are my manners? He turned to Star. Babe, these are Betty's parents, Chief Abimbola and his wife Grace. Chief, this is my fiancée, Summer. Star did not know who was more shocked between her and the Abimbolas. She could only stare, trying to understand what had just happened. She came back to her senses as she realized they were waiting for her to respond. She managed to smile at the family as they looked at her with unbridled hostility. "Congratulations," the man finally managed. "I was just talking to your mom, and she did not mention because I only asked her last night. I haven't had the time to tie a ring." Star stared and wondered how he could lie so perfectly with such a perfect poker face. She did not know if she was more worried about the fact that he could lie so well that he had just put her in a difficult position by introducing her as his fiancée. She took a deep breath and accepted the family's felicitations, noting that Betty did not say anything at all. In fact, she could not wait to get away from them as her parents moved on. Star immediately turned to Stanley. "What did you just—" But they were yet stopped by another couple who were not standing far from them. I could not help overhearing Stanley. "Congratulations, dear." She beamed at them. Star stared at the woman, shocked. She hadn't noticed the couple before, but one look around the crowd told her they weren't the only ones that might have overheard them. Were they all eavesdropping? She asked herself, but she did not have the time to dwell on that as was propelling her forward into the house. He let out a breath and turned to her. "You okay?" She was cut short again by his mother. "Mom, what are you doing out of bed?" "I am grieving, not ill." "Hi, Star. We meet again." She surprised Star by smiling. "Good afternoon, Ma." Star was a bit flustered. "Bosse?" Someone called and walked up to them. "I hear congratulations are in order," the newcomer said. Star gripped Stanley's hands more tightly. "I think we have had enough wine for today, Remy." "Of course not. I think your son made the right choice, dear." "What is she talking about?" Bosse asked. "His fiancée. How long were you planning to hide the fact we have a wedding to plan?" The tipsy woman said and went away. "You're engaged to her and I'm the last one to hear?" Star was too shocked to say a word. "Mom, we'll talk about this later." She moved on. "Oh my goodness, what have we done?" "Nothing wrong as far as I can tell. I will clear it up with her later." "So, who did you want me to meet?" "Not who." "Where?" "Stanley." She frowned at him. "You wear that dress and expect me to behave? I'm going back to the reception." She tried to go back, but he pulled her back, laughing. "That's my grandmother, and she's heading straight to us. Hurry, let's go." She might have heard about the engagement too. She tried to pull him along. "Too late, I'm afraid." "Grandma," he bowed. "Is this her?" The regal-looking woman asked directly before either one of them could think of what to say. "Your wife-to-be?" "Yes." "Somadina, meet my grandmother." The woman peered into her face. "She's beautiful." "I was almost afraid you would go with your mother's choice." "My mother's choice?" "Betty Abimbola." She chuckled. "I guess you want to show her around the house. Get on with it then." She smiled at them. Hurriedly, he led her upstairs. Star was lost in her thoughts. She was not aware of her surroundings, except that she trusted him to lead her to the right place. Was that it then? Did she trust him to lead her to the right place? As far as she could see, he had only led her to lies. Half of his guests think they were engaged. She shuddered at the thought. What would happen when they have to correct that particular error? She heaved a sigh. No, she did not trust him at all. Did not trust him to lead her to the right place. What was the right place, she asked herself? His heart, his body and soul? She sighed at the confusion again. He watched as mirrors of emotion passed through her face. He knew she must truly be confused and maybe a little afraid, same as he was. The truth was, he loved the idea of her being his fiancée, the woman he was about to marry. When he said yes to his grandmother, he felt waves of happiness and joy crash into him. But right behind that happiness were fears and doubts. Was it time to get married? Yes. Was she the right woman for him? Maybe, for now, yes. There was no other being he felt as strongly as he felt for her. Was it just sex? Nowhere to tell until he made love to her and did not feel like turning tails. He wanted what his friends had, a woman who was steady as a rock beside them, a woman who loved them through thick and thin. Was she that woman? He did not know, but he was going to find out. He paused when they got to the door of his childhood suite. Here we are, he opened the door. Here is where? She asked as he ushered her into a beautifully furnished living room. One of my many childhood abodes. He smiled and closed the door and leaned on it. I don't think your grandmother ever redecorated. She smiled, seeing the posters of superheroes on the wall, from Superman to Thor, Batman, Iron Man. I see you're one of those who couldn't decide between DC or Marvel. The choice for me was between the superheroes themselves. Comic lover, are you? Way back, she turned away from the wall. I know you're rattled. I did not mean for the ruse with Ambimbolas to escalate the way it did. I will make it right, I promise. She smiled. It's okay. It's not entirely your fault. So, he drew her close and wrapped his hands around her from behind and hugged her to himself, breathing in her flowery perfume. How he wanted to burrow into her, to draw her so close that he wouldn't know where he began and where she ended. She melted into him and took a refreshing breath. She had heard a lot about the sweetness of a man hugging you from behind, and she had yearned to experience it, but nothing she had had compared to the power of being wrapped in his strong arms, of leaning into his strength, of feeling protected, safe, and needed. She breathed in his scent. It was husky, that was entirely his, and pure male. She leaned more into him, trying to get closer. But before I do that, can we pretend we're engaged just for today, till I can talk to my mom and grandma? Those are the people I should be honest with, no? And our friends. He turned her around and tilted her face with one hand. Trust me, they know not to jump into conclusions. So we kiss and make up. I didn't realize we were fighting. Then he kissed her, tentatively at first. Then with so much ardor, he broke the kiss and peered into her face. I enjoy you, babe. As she found herself flat on her back on the couch. I think this is the first time we may not be interrupted. He bent to kiss her bare shoulders. She could feel herself falling into the whirlpool that was his touch, his kiss, his breath. She was floundering and needed to hold on to something, to some sanity. She was drunk. She was drunk on the magic his hand and lips were creating. She gasped and shuddered at his lips and sips, as she felt no urge to resist. She was not in control, and not being in control was new to her. She tried to fight him off, but he held two of her hands above her head, imprisoning them perfectly. What is the problem? He asked. Too much? She wanted to say, but looking into his dark eyes, impossibly darker with passion, listening to his heartbeat against hers, his hard body pressing down on hers, and yet she wasn't close enough. She knew she couldn't tell him such. It would only inflame the furnace burning in their bodies and soul. Rather, she smiled at him. Someone promised me a tour, and I want to get one even if it's to his boyhood suite. She thought he would protest, but he gingerly got up. Whatever my lady wants. She frowned at him and wondered why he seemed too happy to stop. Was he having doubts and doing everything half-heartedly? Are you sure you're okay so far with this room before we move on? She caught some hold on her thoughts and looked around. We should move on. He caught her hands and led her to a door and opened it. Too late, she realized why he seemed too happy to oblige her. The door led to the bedroom. But before she could protest, he closed the door and had her back to it, looming over her. How did she realize that the only other room would be his bedroom? She thought. So what do you think? I can barely see the room. Nothing much to see, only a bed which we'll soon get to. She managed to slip away from him and walked over to some pictures hanging on the wall. Pictures of him as an 8-year-old, pictures of his parents with him not more than 5 years old, and they all seemed happy, smiling at the camera. Those seemed like another world ago. They look so happy here. Seeing them now, it's difficult to imagine they were once like that, right? He came to stand behind her and drew her back against him, and she leaned against him as she heard the much-felt pain in his voice. I always thought if they remarried other people, they could perhaps find some happiness again. Maybe they have not found someone better. You mean a better opponent? They fight about everything. About me, over me, and around me. It also shows in these pictures. I was once happy here. She's my step-grandmother, but she treated me so differently. Then my mom put a stop to it somehow. I am beginning to see it was because she saw how close I was growing to her father's wife. I can see why she wouldn't want you to be close to the woman who replaced her mother. Don't hold it against her. Mothers are humans too, and feel all the emotions, including petty jealousy. She smiled. You are right. I am not here to discuss my mother, or my father for that matter. All I'm saying, she turned in his hands and faced him. Maybe they are both single because they are still holding out for the other to come back. He laughed, really laughed. You haven't seen them fight. Maybe half the fight is about fighting the love they still harbor for each other. He kissed her forehead and went to lay down on the bed. You read way too many romance novels. He patted the space beside him. I'm here.
In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my home, love.